Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. I am just gonna type this quick because it never shows my name when I go by myself for some reason. So there we go. Okay, so I wanted to do a show tonight because I have interviewed so many candidates, and tomorrow is the big day. Um, there's a lot of contention going around right now, of course, and people are, of course, the vote shaming has already begun, even though a lot of us are in states that we weren't even allowed to vote in yet. So it's kind of more of the old things exactly. Things haven't changed in that regard. So as you know, as we talk and as you guys watch this, if you could just drop in the comments, if you have any of my favorite guests I've had. I was kind of going through to do a retrospective, and it sounds so trite, but there are so many candidates who I just absolutely connected with and love so much. So this is going to be like kind of just a retrospective and also where we go from here. For 13 months, these shows have been my life. So it's very sad to see tomorrow be the general because I have, worked my ass off trying through for over a year to interview these candidates. And, a lot of them I've become close to. A lot of them are not just people that I interviewed, they're people I had a connection with, who I still speak with and message with. So it's pretty awesome to meet these people and, get to meet them on a different level, not just as someone I'd potentially vote for, but as someone deeper than that. I definitely love to connect to candidates on a deeper level. If you guys have watched me, you know that I'm very I like learning how people grew up, what their story is, because it shapes what their passions are now, why they have the platform they have. If somebody's going to tell me, oh, I was raised in a mansion and stuff, well, you know what, you're not going to be my kind of candidate. I want someone who knows struggle. I want someone who's had pain. I want someone who is raw and who's 99% and who is like us. And those are the kind of people I've tried to connect with. Yeah, you guys are naming some great ones. Sarah, oh my God, Sarah Smith is I just can't even handle her. I just love her to pieces. She is just so inspiring and so amazing. I have fingers crossed. I'm just hoping for her so badly. And I've been phone banking for Tim Canova the past few days. My favorite was, I called this guy and he goes, me, vote for Tim. I already early voted. I've been waiting to vote that bitch out for 2 years. I was giddy. I was pretty much squealing when I got off that call. He is a race that is so important. The thing about Tim is, yes, he's a great person. I've gotten to interview him twice. I've gotten to meet him in person. I've gotten to speak with him on numerous occasions. We message all the time. So yes, he deserves to win. He's great. But also think about what this would mean for our movement. Not only would we be taking down the biggest piece of shit who gave us Trump, who cost us Bernie, who just rigged everything from the start, completely corrupt and just ugly and evil. Not only would we be beating her, we would be beating her as an independent. That would change so much. That would be like, okay, look, Democrats, you're not going to give a shit about us. Here's what you can do. You can start listening because we just took down your girl by an independent. It would change everything. That's why this race is so imperative. There's a lot of races going on, but that's the one that I am just hoping. I mean, right now it's showing them in a tie, which we can't. I mean, I don't really put a lot of faith in polls after Hillary had a 96% of chance of winning, and you see how that worked out. But if you guys would be able to message any of your Florida friends, anything like that, or post, we gotta get these votes out for Tim. There are many people early voting for him, which is amazing. However, I know a lot of the older people do wait until voting day itself. So we need to get a lot of younger people out there too, because as we know, a lot of them end up voting progressive. So we need to get as many people out there as possible. So if you want to put in the comments who else you're looking forward to, of course, I know people are going to say Beto. I know people say Stacey Abrams, and I know people will say Andrew Gillum. Those seem to be the other three. Somebody brought up Maria Estrada. I had her on twice. That's another big one we have to watch because she is taking on the biggest corporate shill, well, besides Nancy Pelosi. She is going, and she's going against, I'm not sure how to say it because people say it differently, but what's his name? I can't think of his damn name, but so she's going against him, and he's the one that put Medicare for All on the shelf. Anthony Rendon. He's the one that put Medicare for All on the shelf. He cost California Medicare for All, and he is a Democrat. And he didn't want to help people out. We only needed one state to step up, and we could have gone from there. But he ended it right there. And then they asked him to speak at the Women's March because it's become totally corporate. So that was just odd in itself. I digress a little. But Maria decided, as someone who's never run for anything, that she was going to step up and say, I'm not putting up with this shit. And she has made waves. And she has dealt with so much bullying and so much hatred. It's really incredible, the shit she's had to deal with as a person of color, as a woman, and just as anti-establishment. So we have a lot of great people running. I'm so excited that many of the people I've interviewed have made it to the general as well. It's pretty, I get surprised all of the time that I've done what I've done because I say all the time, people call me a journalist, and I'm like, yeah, I'm actually just an activist and a voter with a laptop. That's all I am. And I was just fortunate enough to have Steve, see some of my videos, which got about 30 views at most. And say that he, wanted me to join and be on a bigger scale. So this past, 13 months has been very surreal to me. My first guest ever was Tim Canova. He had absolutely no idea that I never interviewed anyone because I never told anyone I didn't interview anyone. I actually just asked a guy I met in Chicago at the People Summit. I said, "Oh, you work for Tim Canova. Can he come on my show?" I didn't have a show. I would just like queue up my laptop and rant. That was my show. It just came out of my mouth, and next thing I heard, it was, "Okay, yeah, I'll hook you up." So I interviewed Tim, and the next day he texted me like a gentleman and said, "Thank you so much." And I was like, "Can I tell you a story? You're the first interview I've ever done in my life." And he was just so kind about it and just very supportive and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just keep doing it. So I owe a lot of, what I've done here to Tim, because if he would have been a dick, I probably would have quit. I would have been mortified. I would have been, so embarrassed. Steve, yes, I did interview Kenneth here. He was great. I see why everyone loves him. I was so happy when he won his primary. And I think he's going to kick some ass tomorrow. I really do. You say you're in California. I've heard mixed reviews as far as the jungle primary. I can definitely see some places it's advantageous, but I can understand how it's bad as well, depending on the parties who are running. Yeah, Drea, Madeline Hoffman, Diane Moxley. I've had a lot of Greens. Took a while for Greens to actually be willing to come on my show. They're like, Bernie supporter, F that. She doesn't like us. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm a proud independent. So I support you guys as well. But it took a while for people to warm up that I was supporting Greens as well. So yeah, I've had some great guests from, I think when I counted, 32 states, which is just freaking bananas. So when I was making a list today of Austin Bayshore, he's freaking kick ass. And I'm not even kidding. Austin, you are freaking awesome. And I would vote for you in a heartbeat. This kid, okay, Austin, he is 21 years old, running as a Green, and was endorsed by Jill Stein. I mean, he kicks ass. He's intelligent, he's kind, he's got a great presence. And yeah, I'd vote for you in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me, Austin? Please. Hell yeah, I would. So here, so when I was going through I was going through all my notes and my calendar and stuff to kind of make a list of who I've interviewed and things like that, and just kind of make little notes like what district, what party. And I realized that I accomplished what I set out to do. My goal, once I was about a month in, was I am going to interview 100 candidates by the time we go to the general. And as you guys know, I became very ill and had surgery, and I had to take 3 weeks off, which was unbearable. And I just realized that I hit 100 candidates on Friday. Mr. Austin Bayshore, you're my 100th. So I am so excited that I got to fulfill that. It's really awesome that I could do that. I was for a year I've been trying to accomplish it. And I knew I was in the 90s, but I wasn't. So yeah, that was really exciting to find out. Um, as far as tomorrow, I'm really excited to vote. I know a lot of other people are too. A lot of people are talking about this blue wave, and I've always said, fuck the blue wave. I want a progressive tsunami. I vote person, not party. If you vote all blue, go for it. Totally your prerogative. Absolutely your choice. But I don't do that. I guess I've interviewed enough candidates that I kind of just, I can see through bullshit. And first thing, if you take any corporate money, no, like there is literally no way I will vote for you. If you don't support Medicare for all, there's just certain litmus test things that it's just, you can say you're the word progressive, but if you don't stand for these things, you're not progressive. It's really that simple. So I genuinely do hope people get the vote out. I hope that we see some independent wins, some green wins. And, I hope that a lot of the people I've met who have been so amazing get some wins as well. Because the people I've interviewed, the majority of candidates I've interviewed have been people I would totally go get a beer with. They're so like normal. I don't want to say average because they're far from it, but they're just totally people I would just hang out with. And that's who we need. This establishment shit is not working. It never has. So this is our chance. We've heard about voting for 2 years since we were screwed over in 2016. So now it's up to people to actually act on it. I don't know if they're going to, because it always comes down to how many people show up. When people put polls on their pages, it worries me because, it'll say, say Beto's 10 points ahead or something. Well, that's fine and great, but chances are that poll's like 10 people deep and, and they only interviewed like, millennials or whatever. So you don't know. And you're sharing this. And then what, unconsciously goes through people's mind is, I don't need to vote. Look, he's totally going to win. And that's exactly what happened in 2016. Oh, they've got this in the bag. I'm just going to sit home. And it's so imperative that people vote. Also, the other thing is a lot of progressives have the habit of looking at candidates' pages and saying, oh, well, they have 70,000 followers. Guess how many are in their district, though? Guess how many can actually vote for them? Because I like a lot of candidates' pages, but I can't vote for any of them. So, progressives are very supportive of candidates all across the country. And that's how we elect them, because, social media is really the only platform we have for them. So, by pushing these, all these percentages and numbers and stuff, you're kind of inadvertently telling them it's okay that they can stay home, because a lot of people take it that way. Yeah, that's a very good point. Gopal said that to vote for down ballot candidates as well, and that's a very good point, because a lot of people just vote for governor or what have you, and they don't go down the whole way down the line. Well, here's the thing though, like sometimes there are people who are running and it's for some kind of, maybe minuscule position or something, but you still have a chance of getting a progressive in there. So even if it's not, Congress or Senate or something like that, we can use all the progressives we can get. I mean, I'll take one for lunch, lady. I don't give a shit. I just want anyone who fights for what we fight for and who believes what we believe in office. That's what I hope for, and that's what everyone should hope for, really. If you guys also, want to add the in the comments if you voted, if you plan to vote, or I see Giovanna said that she votes green, so she's getting her vote out. That's so important. Don't let anyone shame you. Don't let anyone tell you it's a wasted vote or any of that bullshit. I did an article that was totally about vote shaming, and it went viral because it's someone needed to say it. It's disgusting. And any single city or state where a Dem does not win, we are going to never hear the end of it, ever. It's purist tests. Because we won't vote for people who take big money. That means we're purist. And actually, what it comes down to is that in 2016, if everyone who swore that they would never go corporate Dem again after what they did to Bernie actually stuck to what they said and said, I will never vote corporate Dems again, we would be in a different situation. But so many of them backed out. So many of them, started fearing things and started, well, I guess I'll vote blue. It's okay. Here's the problem with vote blue no matter who. First of all, you get people like Joe Manchin. But second of all, you are essentially saying to the DNC, you can take corporate money. You can continue elections, rigging of elections. You can not support Medicare for all. You can keep ignoring the middle class. You can do all these things. And guess what? Vote blue no matter who. I'm just going to vote for you anyway. That's not how change happens. That's how enabling happens. Why would they change if you're telling them they have your vote regardless? This is, and during the primaries is a time when we have to hold candidates responsible. We have to tell them, look, you want our vote? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to start supporting Medicare for all. You're going to start talking about free college tuition and trade school, and you hold them accountable. People have this theory that once they get elected, they'll start listening to people. And when the hell has that ever happened? I must have missed that, because to me, I always thought once they get into office, they turn, just go in a closet and forget us completely. I've never heard of someone who actually suddenly starts listening once they're elected. But, I would get so much shit when I would post about that. And people would say, he's campaigning, give him a break. No, you're not going to be able to vote for people who are not going to be fighting for the people. If you do, you're keeping the cycle going of them not caring about us as people. One thing I'm super just shocked but excited about is Congressman Ro Khanna hit me up today, and he wants to come back on, which is so weird. First of all, that I've had him on twice, and I, I curse in front of him and say just totally, I don't put on an act. I'm the same way in front of him. And the fact that he asked to come on a second time and now he's asking to come on a third time, it's really interesting to me that, like, first of all, like, he's asking me to come on. And then second of all, that he would like the company of a woman who just completely curses all the time and tells the Dems what's up. But, Roe I don't agree with him on everything, but he is a genuinely good guy. He does fight for us. He does want what's best for us. And, we've kind of got our difference of opinions, and we've duked that out on the air. But the one thing I'll say about Roe is he is always respectful, and he is always willing to discuss anything anybody talks about. He's got some humanitarian in him, which is so rare. So I also have this guy coming up who's hilarious. He's coming up next Monday, and he keeps getting arrested for going to Trump rallies and yelling really obscure, just weird shit. Like, last time he went to a Trump rally, he was like, Dad, hey, Dad, at Trump, and he got arrested. And he's been arrested at Trump rallies like numerous times. And he has a GoFundMe for his accounts for his jail hearings and stuff. So I said, come on my show and we'll just have fun with it. So I have him coming up. Then I have a gentleman who was actually the police actually cropped their live cam footage to show that they didn't mace him, and they did, and they finally admitted to it, and it gave him a written statement admitting that they completely fabricated the evidence. So I have him coming up, and then Wednesday I have Mr. Ron Placone coming back for a third time, who I effing adore. And if you've never seen Ron on my show, you have to, because he is so funny and I just adore him. Ron is the one on Jimmy Dore who always says howdy, howdy. And he has his own show now, Get Your News On with Ron. He is honestly my favorite guest ever. So I'm excited to have him back Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then I will be going to see him next Friday in person as well. So, this was kind of just a random thing, but I was so excited to actually just, announce that I've interviewed 100 candidates, but also to, encourage you guys to vote, and encourage you guys to vote the way that you see fit and the way that you want to. Don't listen to anyone else. Your vote is your vote. That's it. They have this desire to, I think they're just pissed off they can't get in the actual voting booth with you and press the button for you. I think it drives them mad that they can't do that. But you guys, I've hung out with Lee. He's a good guy, but he's like literally impossible to get a hold of. So I don't think that's going to happen. I try trying to get people who are more attainable. I'm sure he doesn't remember me. Trust me. But yeah, so I do have some good shows coming up. Steve and I are actually going to be starting a podcast as well, where I get to actually show some of my humor, which is exciting. So that's called Macro and Cheese, and we're going to be starting that up a little about 2 weeks from now. So I'm definitely going to still have my show. I'm going to keep busy. I just unfortunately won't have any candidates anymore. But I'll come up with stuff, gonna have a lot of activists and stuff. And as always, if you guys have any suggestions of topics you want me to discuss, I've had some amazing shows. I've had, the first ever Dem Enter, Dem Exit debate that blew up. It was like 18,000 views. It was ridiculous. And then I did a second one. I had, a discussion of two men of color, just kind of debating things and how they are in our country. I've had some really organic shows touching on issues that a lot of people are curious about, but still kind of too scared to ask a lot of people. So, I'm open to suggestions. Absolutely message me or message Real Progressives. But I'm not done. So you guys are still going to be stuck with me. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are freaking amazing. And you guys are why I do what I do. If I didn't have any viewers, it wouldn't be worth it. So thank you so much. Encourage your friends to vote tomorrow and vote with their hearts, and vote for themselves. We can't vote and then regret it later. We have to do what we're going to be okay living with the next day. So thank you so much, you guys. And again, I will see you on Wednesday for third edition of Ron Placone's Savagery with me. It should be interesting. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.